Thank you for listening to this PodcastOne Sportsnet production, available on Apple Podcasts and PodcastOne.
The Steve Austin Show is brought to you in part by Great Clips. At Great Clips, they want you to love your haircut. That's why they created Clip Notes. Notes that tell them what you like, so you get your same great haircut every time, anywhere. With Clip Notes, no matter which stylist cuts your hair, you'll get the haircut you want. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
The following program is a PodcastOne.com production.
From Hollywood, California, by way of the Broken Skull Ranch, this is the Steve Austin Show.
Give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah!
Now, here's Steve Austin.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Steve Austin Show. I am coming to you from the mean streets of Los Angeles, California today. I am sitting here in my office at 316 Gimmick Street, watching a second hand spin around like a rotisserie chicken on this Pearl Beer neon clock. And man, I am in a bind for time. And no pun intended by referring to my clock. I'm in a bind. I thought I had a podcast on deck already recorded for my Tuesday show. Turns out, boy, not so fast. I don't have a podcast queued up. So I called my buddy Ted. He's fixing to join me here on Skype. We're going to shoot the breeze. He's been down at the ranch doing work, and I got all kinds of stuff going on over here at 316 Gimmick Street. My wife is sitting across from me, our little podcast table. Kristin, how are you today?
I'm exhausted.
I know, I'm exhausted too, man. This whole weekend has just wiped me out. There's been so much packing and stuff like that. I've let everybody know on the podcast that we're going through a remodel.
But you haven't done much packing. I've been doing all the packing.
I've been doing all the damn man work around here. I done took apart the beds. Here's the thing. We're trying to get
I had to start to take apart the beds to get you to start taking apart the beds.
Well, see, it was reverse psychology. But I did that so that you could feel like you're manipulating me into doing the heavy work.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was actually in charge there, but you thought you were in charge.
Were you in charge when you got the bat to break up the bed instead of a hammer?
Need a little leverage. Man, I tell you what, I'm not the handiest guy in the world, but boy, I can tear something up real good.
Yeah, that bat worked miracles.
That's easy for you to say. I'll tell you what, my wonderful wife got us a pod, one of those things that you put in your driveway or out in front of your house to put all your stuff in. And it's a 16-footer, and I guess it's about 18. It's a 16-footer, and I guess it's about 8 foot wide. Got a roll-up garage door on one end. And a guy came over a while ago, and he backed that thing in the driveway. And it was the damnedest, this is family friendly, but it was the damnedest dismount system, the way that the frame of the truck had a motor on it, and it just jacked itself up. The guy pulled the truck out, and then he had a motor on the skylift and put the pod down exactly where we wanted it, and then drove the skylift with manual controls back out to the road, in the middle of the road, and then back the truck underneath it. You'd have to see it to understand what I'm talking about, but it was amazing. It
looked very complicated.
But it was really cool the way they did that. But here's the thing. Kristin goes up, and she opens the garage door to the roll-up pod, and it was almost like a scene out of the movie Jaws when Roy Scheider says, "We're going to need a bigger boat," once they saw that big-ass shark. Kristin rolled up the door, and she goes, "We're going to need a bigger pod." You think we're going to be able to get all of our stuff, and I'm using stuff rather than the SH word because this is family friendly, Kristin, but do you think we're going to be able to get all the stuff we got in that little bit? Do you think we're going to be able to get all that stuff in that pod?
Well, you have a lot of stuff, and if you get rid of some of your stuff, we may be able to get our furniture in the pod.
But you know what? Being in the entertainment business, you just accumulate a lot of stuff. People just give you stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. When you're in the entertainment business, I'm not to sound like a hot shot. You just get a lot of samples of stuff. And I have a hard time letting some of the stuff go.
Well, you also have a lot of clothes. I've never seen a human being with that many clothes.
And I wear the same thing over and over and over again.
Every single day.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So I can throw all the clothes away, but it's all the stuff.
Well, we don't throw stuff away. I give it away.
Oh, we give it away or do whatever with it, or we don't just throw it away. But the point is, we got a bunch of junk. And so Here's the thing. I told my wife 3 weeks ago, she started talking about this pod, putting some stuff in the garage, And I said, you know what? Just let me go get a storage unit. I'll rent it. I'll get a couple of trucks. I'll get a couple of guys to help me do whatever it takes and put the stuff in storage. But no, you said we had to have the pod, and that would be the easiest way. But now, turns out, Kristin,
No.
maybe
No.
Steve was right in just saying we should just got a storage unit.
We'll get it all in there. I'm not going to waste extra money on
We're going to need a shoehorn or some Vaseline to get all that stuff in there. We got too much junk.
Yeah, we do. That's why we need to declutter before we start loading it up.
My wife said that's what I've been doing.
Why store stuff that you're not going to keep?
I know, but I've been decluttering, taking all these beds apart.
Oh, taking all these beds. You took 2 measly beds apart.
Well, come on, Chris, this is a podcast. I got to talk it up a little bit.
Wow.
Man, those were some macho-ass beds I took apart. Yeah.
With a bat.
With a bat. Well, the deal was, anyway, I couldn't explain it. It's harder to explain than the pod getting driven over here.
It's one of those stories where you had to be there.
But here's one of those things, like the stuff is hitting the fan right now, Chris, because I'm on a deadline. The pod just rolled up. You were sitting there my wife was already trying with her friend to load stuff in there, and I said, no, you can't load it until I get the big, heavy stuff in there.
I wasn't trying to load the small stuff first. I know that. I was just trying to carry some stuff at least to get out there to get you motivated to start bringing out the big stuff.
Motivated, but you got to understand something, because I have a flashback when all of a sudden I see the inside of a truck, just like I always tell you, Kristin, I used to work on a freight dock. I know how to load and unload trucks, pods, whatever they are. I know how to load them. So you got to leave this to the expert, me. Now, one of us got to be in charge, and as the head of the household, I think that should be me, but I'm willing to defer that to you, just as long as I'm in charge of the heavy loading.
You can do the heavy loading, but I do the organizing and where it goes because I'm better at that than you are.
How in the world? I worked my way up to top pay faster than anybody else at Watkins Motor Lines in Dallas, Texas in 1988, the year before I got into the business of professional wrestling, and now you want to just... Not so fast, my friend, as Lee Corso would say. I'm gonna be in charge of this operation. Just leave it on my back.
But I already saw you trying to shove stuff into the cabinets in the garage, and you weren't doing it in any orderly fashion. You were just kind of shoving it in there.
No, but that's what I call that. Not to be sexist, that's the woman work. That's
woman's work. Oh,
you know what I mean.
Well, you're gonna have backlash to that one.
No, but you know what I mean. I just want to do the heavy stuff.
If it was woman's work, why were you out there doing it?
Because you made me.
Oh.
I said, see, because we're married, we got to get along. And so sometimes when,
we get along pretty good.
When you put your foot down every now and then, sometimes you got to do things I don't want to do, like stuff like that. It's just, and like I said, I didn't mean that in a bad way. It's just like I want to be doing the heavy lifting.
I got you.
Because what I was doing, I had my old wrestling vest, my Stone Cold vest.
Yeah.
I probably still have 8 or 10 of those things, and they're still soaked with beer, but they're preserved 100%. And so I was putting them in this particular space, and I didn't feel like, I wanted to lift something heavy, like use a forklift, use my dolly. I moved a Fort Knox safe the other day, weighed 400 pounds. Now, that was a man's work. I don't want to be stuffing something into a closet.
Well, then let me do that stuff so we don't waste any space and we don't need to rent another storage facility.
Yeah, but you're the one who told me to get in the closet and take the vest and go put them out there. I was fine leaving them right where they was at until the pod gets here, so I can put a lock on the damn thing.
A pod doesn't need to be out in the front yard for us to be.
Well, anyway, we got time. We got so much stuff going on.
Anyway,
we only have a couple of days to get this pod loaded because here on Wednesday, the day after this podcast drops, we're heading out to Palm Desert to go be a part of the big Kawasaki dealer meeting in Palm Desert. I'll be redundant in saying it's in Palm Desert, so we'll be out there with Kawasaki.
Palm Desert?
Yeah, I had a lot of stress going on over here. And then as soon as we get back from Kawasaki, I do a couple of interviews for Broken Skull Challenge. Broken Skull Challenge, Kristin, Season 4 returns
excited.
November 13th, 10/9 Central on CMT. If you saw the other seasons of Broken Skull Challenge, you're going to dig this season, especially getting towards the back end of this thing. I'm not going to let anything out of the bag, but it is beyond epic. And the Broken Skull Challenge starts this Sunday, 10/9 Central on CMT, November 13th. Please set your DVR. once we get back from promoting Broken Skull Challenge, my phone just went off. I owe everybody a beer. So once I get back from doing the
Palm
promotion
Desert.
for Broken Skull Challenge in Palm Desert, then we got to load up and head down to Texas.
That's right.
On the 17th. I can't wait to get down to Texas. Do you know this is the longest in December? Do you know that this is the longest it's taken us to get down to the ranch since we bought it 9 years ago?
Yeah.
We're going to get down on November 17th.
We've just been so busy.
I know. Normally we're down there the 1st of November or the back end of October, and this is killing me. Ted Fowler, 361, says he's seen a lot of deer, a lot of hogs, a lot of javelinas, seen some coyotes.
Scorpions.
Yuck. All kinds of stuff out there, so it's going to be a good deer season. But I'm wondering, because the remodel is going to be going on, and you're going to go back and forth a couple times.
Yep.
And check on the progress. Check on your mom.
Check on my mom.
And then...
maybe do a Zumba class.
Man, I'll tell you what, I don't know why you don't use that DVD Zumba thing you got
It's
a couple years
different.
ago.
It's boring.
No, but when that guy does that, what's that shop I like?
I know.
The alligator thing?
In fact, today at the gym, they were asking about if you do Zumba with me. And I said, well, he likes to do the tape because he likes that particular chop move.
Okay, correction. I don't like to do the tape. I don't do Zumba. Homie, don't play that. I watch the Zumba because all the dancers are such good dancers. And
Yeah.
the guy who's leading the class, he does it like cool.
Yeah.
And
He doesn't even have to move much, and he looks good.
Yeah. So look, he's like, you can look kind of silly doing kind of stuff like that sometimes, but no, that dude's cool. Is he the inventor of Zumba?
Yeah, Beto Perez, I think his
Man,
name
that dude's smart.
Yeah.
I wish I could have invented Zumba. But then, I would have come up with some kind of macho, broken skulls, whatever. You know what? That's what I'm going to do. Do a spinoff. That's what everybody does. I'll do Steve Austin's. Look at DDP Yoga.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
Zumba. It's going to be Steve Austin's Broken Skull Zumba.
That doesn't really have a ring to it.
But I'm just telling you, you know it's going to be physical if I'm coming up with it. No,
next
never
idea.
mind, scratch. Yeah. Boy, I thought I had a winner there, and I really crapped the bet on that one.
Yeah.
Kristin, anything that you'd like to push, promote, plug?
I don't do any of that.
I know, but I'm just kidding, because when you have a guest on your show, you ask them that.
Go out and vote tomorrow.
Oh, man, I'm glad you brought that up, man. The TV's going crazy. Trump's out there. Hillary's out there. They're both doing their best. There's not a third-party candidate.
There is independent.
I know, but I'm just saying it has a chance.
Oh, right.
This thing, it's going to be interesting either way. I'll leave it at that.
Yep.
I don't know what the outcome is, but it's going to be interesting.
Spay and neuter your pets.
Spay and neuter your pets?
Yeah, that's what Bob Barker always said. You said if I want to plug something.
All right. Kristin, I want to thank you for joining me here on the opening of the Steve Austin Show. I know I've never won an award in 3 years. The opening of this show damn sure ain't going to win me no awards. But if you're listening, spay or neuter your pets. That way they don't...
Well, they don't reproduce. We have too many pets out there.
Oh, man. The other day we were driving down the road. Where were we? We saw that little dachshund on the side of the road, and you wanted to pull over and get it.
Gosh, I can't remember.
I know, but you wanted to pull over and get it.
Oh, no, it was a black lab. We were in Reno.
Yeah, wherever it was.
Yeah.
But there was another lady that had a dachshund. No, I was following a lady behind a lady in traffic the other day, and she had a I Love Dachshund sticker. She was in a Honda Accord, and she was texting the whole time she was driving, and the I Love Dachshund stickers was actually crooked on the back deck of her trunk of her car. That's how much it impacted me with the...
And it's all
details,
blending together.
Yeah. So I'm just like, yeah.
Black
and then I started
lab,
the black lab in Reno. So, but we can't rescue every single dog.
I know,
that
but
you
I do
find.
like to catch them.
I know, but all the ones that you've caught on that road that goes to the Broken Skull Ranch have been returned to the owners, and they all live within about a mile of where we picked them up.
Yeah, but they shouldn't be letting their dogs run loose.
But that's what people do in the country. They just let their dogs roll around. And
no collars, nothing.
I'll agree with you on that. They need to have a collar on, because we take a picture of the dog, or I'll draw a picture of it, and we take it and put it on the storefront there at the Shell station in Tilden, and we get phone calls. And
Well,
get the
because
dog back.
those big 18-wheeler trucks are going down the highway, and I think their dogs are going to get hit. So that's
There's
why
not
I
all
pick 'em
field
up.
traffic out there. You got to look out for the dog.
Yeah.
Man, that one time, real quick story before we get out of this open. One time I was sitting there in my white Chevy pickup, my prize 2003 Z71.
No, we were driving down the highway.
You got to let me finish the
Okay.
story. Well, you jump on me. Come on. You want me to load this pod up or not? So we're sitting there on the side of the road in Tilden, Texas. We're talking to Joe, the guy who owns the feed store. And there was a what color was that dog?
It was a Catahoula leopard
There was a
dog.
Catahoula leopard dog about 100 yards down the highway, rolling.
In the middle of the street.
In the middle of the highway that rolled us right through Tilden, 72, not 16, Highway 16. He was rolling around. And we didn't know what he was doing. Well, what he was doing, he was rolling around on roadkill. And so I was like, God dang, there's a dead animal, and there are dogs over there rolling around on it. So I'm sitting there talking to Joe, and all of a sudden, I was sitting there talking to Joe out of my window. So I'm not looking at the passenger side where my wife was. I didn't hear her open and shut the door. And all of a sudden, just this stench just goes across my nostrils. And I go, what the F? And I look to my right because I knew that my wife couldn't have farted or done anything to smell like that. And first of all, my wife would be the first to tell you probably she don't fart. She had this mangy Catahoula leopard dog would have been rolling around in the roadkill sitting in her lap. I'm like, what are you doing? This is a 2003 Chevy Z71 pickup truck with vinyl seats.
I said drive.
And that was the smelliest damn dog. And we ended up giving it about 3 baths, getting all the stench
Fleas
off
off
of it.
of 'em.
And we found the dog's owner.
Yeah.
There's a happy ending to the story. So anyway, I don't want to beat a dead horse, beleaguer the point. This is the open of the show. I'm talking to my buddy Ted Fowler 361 because miscommunications on my podcast guests, all kinds of things. Let's don't make any excuses.
People like to listen to Ted.
Oh, Ted's one of my favorite guys to talk to, but he's going to be on the show a lot coming up here, especially when we get into deer season because we're going to be doing the Unleashed show. And we hunt every single day, every single morning, every single evening. We work out and we work. So there's going to be something going on. And you cook, and you cook, and you cook. And by the time we leave in January, you're so sick of cooking, which is your passion.
I'm ready to go to a restaurant.
No, but it was time to get back to L.A. so we can get more rest.
Right.
Because theoretically, when we go down to the ranch, you think, oh, man, it's going to be fun. We're going to hunt, drive the tractor and mow the yard and cut the grass. Yeah, by the time you finish doing everything we got to do down there, mister or Mrs., you're ready to get out of Dodge.
Yeah.
It's heaven being in seclusion and all that, but there's also a lot of work. Well, Kristin, thank you for helping me with this open.
You are very welcome, my love.
When I get through talking to Teddy, I'll see you in the pod.
All right.
All right, we're going to get into the rest of the show here in a minute, and I know you guys have been hearing me talk about DDP Yoga forever, but believe me, it's not just because it's one of the great longtime sponsors of this podcast. It's also because my buddy Diamond Dallas Page has created one of the best dang fitness programs on the planet. DDP Yoga isn't just a workout either. It's a healthier way to live. Dallas helps you with everything, the workouts, eating smarter and healthier, tracking your progress so that you stay on track. He even provides a little kick-ass motivation for days when you ain't feeling so inspired, and he does all of that with his new DDP Yoga Now app. This thing is badass, which you can get for iOS and Android. A lot of pro wrestlers, athletes, musicians swear by DDP Yoga. Y'all know Jake the Snake and Scott Hall's stories. You know Jericho, AJ Styles, RVD, and Kane all do DDP Yoga. Even Mick Foley's doing DDP Yoga. And he is in the best shape of his life right now. Swig of water to Mick. And with the DDP Yoga Now app, you ain't got no more excuses about why you can't start DDP Yoga. The app means you can do it anytime, anywhere. DDP Yoga Now app users can do the original workouts, the new 2.0 workouts, and live workouts from the DDP Yoga Performance Center. And for a limited time, you can get the DDP Yoga DVDs for 15% off, plus 3 months of full access to the DDP Yoga Now app. Just go to ddpyoga.com/Austin. That's ddpyoga.com/Austin to take advantage of this great deal. Commit now. Change your life now. Go to ddpyoga.com/Austin now to get started.
Hey everybody, it's Shaq. Have you had a chance to check out the #1 podcast on PodcastOne? That's right, the Big Podcast with Shaq. Me and my co-hosts John Kincaid and Rob Jenners, we have a blast. With way more than just sports, we have the biggest guests from entertainment to the NBA. I promise you've never ever heard a show like this. The Big Podcast with Shaq, with the new episode every Monday at PodcastOne.com.
The Steve Austin Show. The Steve Austin Show.
Teddy Fowler 361, how are you?
Good. See, I finally got this thing working now. I'm sitting here in front of it, and it rang, and I clicked on it, and now we're talking.
Hey, man, last time we talked was just the other day. We was talking about the World Series. The World Series has come and gone, and the Chicago Cubs are the world champions. What do you think about the series? No, don't talk about the series. How about that last game? That was a hell of a game. Until you told me that the World Series was going on, hell, I knew about it, but I just wasn't watching. I tuned into that last game, and I used to play baseball back in, Little League and Senior League and high school and stuff like that. But I've kind of drifted away from the game. Watching that game makes me want to get back into Major League Baseball next season. That was a badass game.
Oh, dude, it was real good. When the guy for Chicago led off with the Dexter Fowler, of course, leads off with a jack to start the game. It's like, oh man, the Cubs are rolling, and then they get out, 5-6 runs ahead. It's like, man, it's all but over. And then Cleveland manages to tie it up. It's like, boy, we got us a boat race here, and then a rain delay, and you're thinking, oh man, the poor Cubs, they can't win for losing, and then they pull it out. So it wasn't who I wanted to win, but I'm happy, I'm happy for them. But it was a real good game, But I think that rain delay was key because it seemed like Cleveland kind of had a little swing of momentum there. Yeah. And then that meeting. Who was it? Hayward? I can't remember who they said called the meeting, but they called the meeting. It was a team meeting, and they just say, "Hey man, we came here to do what we got to do." And whatever they said, they said in private, but they rallied kind of there. It's almost like turning on a rally cap. And boy, I tell you what, all of a sudden they take a lead, and then. There was a little bit of flack at the end after that game was over. Some of the people were saying that Joe Madden had pulled that one pitcher too soon and stuck in another pitcher too soon. Did you connect any coaching or out of that? I mean, was that just people nitpicking, armchair quarterbacking? Dude, I think those people are armchair quarterbacking. I mean, they're not standing next to the guy. They're not seeing him day after day after day after day. I mean, it's like, you live with Kristin. You get up in the morning and even without her saying anything to you, if she, has a tummy ache or a headache or, something ain't right, you can just tell without anything being spoken, just by, her body language or mannerisms, stuff like that. So maybe Madden, saw something in his pitcher that, he knew, if the kid was hurt, and he's going to fight through it. Dude, stellar move, but that ain't helping the club, and we've only got one game here to put it all on, So no, I think the managers, man, they're either great or they're awful if you listen to the fans.
Well, they're great or they're awful if they win or they lose on the big series. So, anyway, I think there's people nitpicking or they wanted another story out of it. Hell, I didn't look that deeply into it. But like I said, I've been away from the game. When you start listening to Joe Buck and, God dang, it was Glavine talking about that game and talking about the strategy, I'm just kind of a knucklehead. Even with football, I played football at the collegiate level, but I'm not really an X's and O's guys. I can't even remember the defense we ran when I played linebacker at North Texas State. And, I just know, hey, man, follow the ball, take care of your responsibility, go tackle the guy. Same thing when I played baseball. If you're up there at bat, just try to hit the ball. But, man, there's so much strategy involved in that game, more so than I ever dreamed of, because when Joe Buck and Glavine, was it Glavine or the other guy? Can't remember the other guy's name who was broadcasting the show. But just talking about the strategy, man, I mean, those guys were thinking so far ahead, and it was really interesting when, who was it that had the bases loaded? Well, it was Chicago was on the bases because Cleveland was trying to pick their one target. They intentionally walked the one guy, and they thought they was going to get the next guy, and he cranked something. So they're just and that's a basic outline of strategy. But dude, those people are putting together some serious game plans, because in football I see game plans, in baseball I don't. But now I think I'm starting to get it. Well,
I mean, the difference between football and baseball is a football game plan. you may pull a defensive back, from one side to the next to match up with a specific receiver. In baseball, you bring somebody off of the bench, man, that's a one-shot Louis. You know what I mean? You bring somebody in to lay down a sacrifice bunt. You got runners first and second, nobody out. You need to get the runners to second and third, take double play out, and a fly ball or a single scores them. You look down the bench. Well, there's Joe Schmo, man. All I need him to do is, put bat on ball and drop me a sacrifice bunt. We've been, worked all year to do it. Now, can Joe Schmo, who's been sitting there for, an hour and a half, put it into play? If he can, great, man. You as the manager look great. And if he pops up to the catcher, God, who decided to put him in? Because, not only does the batter get heat, now the manager gets heat for putting him in. Now you got one out with runners at first and second, snappy double play ends the inning, so you're screwed. There's a lot of strategy, a lot of thinking that goes into play, but you've also got to have a lot of execution,
Teddy, did you watch any football this weekend? I watched a couple of Southeast Conference games. I watched Washington play. They were the 5-ranked team. Got a chance to see them in action. They looked outstanding. Of course, Roll Tide, Alabama going to remain at number 1. Ohio State looked good. Nebraska got crushed. Did you watch any collegiate football?
Dude, all this time we've known each other. You know the answer to that one.
I know.
No, sir. No.
That was a setup question.
I was going to say, man, are we going to make a whole show out of this? Because we're really going to struggle.
No, because I know you're a baseball guy, and I'm more of a football guy. So the thing about it is, the Steve Austin Show is like there's all kinds of different categories. You have business podcasts, entertainment podcasts, comedians podcast, and you have sports and recreation. Well, there's a whole bunch more than what I've just named off. I'm giving you an example. But mine falls under the sports and recreation department. So there's a lot of recreation in my podcast. So I was finally... I was finally able to spend about 6 to 7 minutes talking about baseball, the World Series, the most important part of the season, on the podcast. Ask you a football question. You ain't seen no football, so now we can shift gears into recreation.
Dude, I'll tell you what, I am so out of touch. When I was watching the World Series, a commercial came on, and I have no idea what it was about, but they said something about the Super Bowl. And I looked and I go, my God, it's football season? Yeah, that's how out of touch I am with football.
Well,
yeah, but I really don't watch sports.
Well, let me go you one alongside of what you just went. I was watching football just yesterday, and then I saw highlights or the ticker tape about LeBron dumping in like 27 or 29 points. And I'm like, The Undertaker was just in Cleveland because they just got the trophy, and now I hear about LeBron scoring like 27 points in some game. So are they starting to spin up off season right now, or is it preseason already? Because what are they playing? And we were talking the other day, baseball's playing 162. I think they're playing 108 games. So it's like, dude, I mean, you think, like, oh, it'd be cool to be a football player. Well, aside from the violence of it and the chance for injury or the baseball factor, the fact that it's a cool game, but it lasts forever. Hey, man, you think, okay, just gotta get ready for the season. Hey, man, that's your whole life, because once you roll out a season, you recoup, try to recover a little bit, start training for next season. Those guys really don't have any time off. They do technically, but also technically they don't, if you want to be the best of the best.
No, dude, it's like a 2-week vacation, and then you're right back in the grind. There's no way that a professional athlete can sit on his hands for 3 months and then come out and go, all right, I'm ready to start working out again because we've got our first preseason game in 6 weeks. No, it doesn't happen. You're absolutely right.
Holy smokes, Teddy. I know you and me always watch UFC when we're down there at the Broken Skull Ranch, and I'm going to see you down there in about 10 days. I can't wait to get down there. Before we move on to the recreation part of this podcast, man, UFC 205. Are you going to watch that fight, Teddy?
I'm going to be up at the ranch.
Okay, you can order it, or I'll order it and send it down there. That way it'll give us something to talk about. Man, I don't know. You don't read the newspaper, but Conor McGregor was talking a lot of trash today about Eddie Alvarez, saying he's going to change his facial features. His family's not going to recognize him. He's going to do all this stuff to him. And I think the fight has already sold itself because of the super card that it is. But, you know, I'm a Conor McGregor fan, but I'm also just an MMA fan. So Eddie Alvarez is a badass in his own right. So, that's going to be a hell of a fight. But just the whole card is stacked. And then, the other fight, Chris Weidman against Yoel Romero. That's going to be interesting. Cowboy Cerrone versus Gastelum. That's going to be interesting. Tate versus Pennington. Jedrzejczyk versus Kowalczyk. Boy, I botched those two names. And Lamar Woodley versus Thompson. It's a stacked-ass card. So you got to watch that. You got to watch the 205 card, and then we'll talk about that and break it down. Now, here's the thing. Neither one of us know any MMA terminology. But since this is a recreation podcast, we can talk recreationally about a sport.
Dude, that's Misha's first venture back into the ring, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And did I hear a cocktail tumble in the background?
Yeah.
All right, what are you drinking?
Jack and Coke. Dude, you know how nervous I get before we do these shows. I got to do something to settle myself down.
Dude, I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't had a drink in I don't know how long, but I was so bummed out about being unprepared for this show. I said, you know what? I'm just going to have one cocktail. So I'm firing down an Elijah Craig on the rocks, topped off with water.
Dude, I had just turned on the tube, and I told you what I was watching, and you call and you're like, dude, you got a podcast in you? I'm like,
well, here, let me
as luck.
Let me put this into perspective for you. You remember that guy down there on the bench? You just needed him hit a sack fly or just get a guy around the base? Yeah.
Fowler, grab a bat.
You remember Rodney Dangerfield in Back to School? Melon, we need you. This was one of those things, and I thought about you about 5 or 10 times. I'm thinking, man, I just talked to Teddy last week. I got to give the people somebody else. And I was calling, and I talked to an old guy that I used to know in WWF named Jack Lanza. He was in a tag team many years ago in the WWF, and I was going through my phone so many times to talk to people, Teddy. I just kept seeing Jack Lanza's name. And I haven't talked to Jack. And Jack had a great career as a singles and as a tag team wrestler. And he was my agent through most of my career in WWF. And, like George Steele would help people, Pat Patterson would help people, Jerry Briscoe would help people. Jack was my guy. And we got along like gangbusters, and he's a hellraiser like you and me, old school, good, just good, solid cat. And he could go. So anyway, I just decided, you know what? I hadn't heard anything from Jack in at least 10 years. So I said, you know what? This phone number might not even work, but I'm going to give him a call. And after about 6 rings, I heard that voice, and I knew that was Black Jack. And I said, Jack, it's Steve Austin from the WWF. And I wanted to let it sink in so he could register because Jack just he's 81 years old.
Right.
And God dang, I can't imagine that guy's 30 years old. He's doing pretty good. He just had some hip work done. But, man, it brought back such a flood of memories. We talked for about 25 or 30 minutes. And Jack Lanza is like I told him. I thanked him for helping me so much in the WWF back in my younger days when I was in world class. Referee Bronco Lubitsch and the old heel manager Skandar Akbar took me under their wings. And Jack Lanza and Jerry Briscoe and all those guys helped me when I first came into WWF. And I told Jack, I said, I'll never forget when you told me this. And Briscoe told me the same thing because I didn't have a gimmick at the time. I was a ringmaster. And they said, Steve, just keep doing what you're doing. They said, you'll get over. It's going to take you longer to get over because you're not a gimmick. But once you get over, you'll stay over. And I never forgot that story, and I retold it to him, and he goes, yeah, it happened just like I said it would. So then I was sitting there looking through some other stuff because I was going to call Dallas Page. And then I started looking at some YouTube stuff and came across an old Van Hammer video. Now, Van Hammer was a guy who lasted in the business, I don't know, a good 6 or 8 years. Never quite made it to the big time. Good-looking, big, impressive guy. And I watched him wrestle a match with Sid Vicious. And then here comes Rick Steiner to the ring, comes off the top turnbuckle, and gives Van Hammer a bulldog off the top turnbuckle. And he rolls out of the ring. And I said, man, let me Wikipedia Rick Steiner. So I Wikipedia Rick Steiner. And then turns out official website. Rick Steiner. I knew that he was still in the Atlanta area, and Rick's been in the real estate business now for years. And I called him out of the blue today, and me and Rick Steiner were always friends, same with Scott Steiner, but we never really hung together. You know, they had their crew, I had my crew, and so we just kind of independent, but a lot of mutual respect. Those guys were badass, and they were good guys. And so I called him out of the blue today. He says, hello. I said, Rick, this is Steve Austin from the WWF, because I talk very distinctly because, you know, I don't know what guys remember me, what guys don't.
Right.
Dude, he was so surprised that I called him out of the blue. So we sit there and traded some stories, some good boss man stories, Rick Rude stories, some of our common thread people that we knew and caught up. And it was awesome talking to Jack Lanza and Rick Steiner today. And I called him, and I told him at the end of the conversation, I said, Rick, I didn't call you to ask you to be on my podcast. But, man, when I get to Texas in a couple weeks, would you do my show? He says, just give me a call. So I'm looking forward to connecting with that guy. Did you ever catch much of the Steiner brothers?
Yeah. I mean, I'm more of Scott Steiner, but yeah. Those guys were yoked, man. Weren't they football players? Dude.
Oh, no, man. Those guys were straight up shoot wrestlers. I remember I told oh, yeah, dude. Those guys were bad. I remember when I first saw Rick, when he started off, I think in Montreal, but then when I first saw him, he was in Mid-South Power Pro with Bill Watts. And, man, I'd been watching Mid-South for quite a while, and all of a sudden I seen this guy come to the ring. He was probably about 5'11". His shoulders looked 4 foot wide with those big capped-off delts. I mean, and he's one of those guys that had that crazy muscular density. Now, right. Scotty had the freaky arms and, the crazy, awesome physique, but Rick just had that density, and it's like, it's just kind of like, oh, he was a specimen of like, who is this guy? And, boy, all of a sudden, then they burst onto the scene and go on to have the run that they did. But it was cool catching up with those guys. We used to ride down the road back in the old days, making some of those towns in the Midwest, up through Kansas City, Missouri. We'd do this thing. Sting would be in a Cadillac, Steiner's be in a Cadillac, I'd be in a Lincoln or whatever I was driving with the pack I was riding with. And I might have told you this story before. We'd get cartons of milk, bananas, watermelons, fruit, tomatoes, and just if you saw a guy, going down the road, if they didn't recognize you, you'd pull up and get a little bit in front of them, roll down that window, and if you just pop the top off that milk and hold that handle out and just turn that bottle upside down, it just totally coats their car with all kinds of milk. And you throw the food fights that we used to have rolling down the interstates of the highways and byways of America at 65, 75, 85 miles an hour was absolutely ridiculous, very unsafe. Stupid, immature, but god dang, we had fun. Teddy,
not endorsed by the highway department of any state.
Not to mention, the days back in the USWA when, for some reason, the in vogue thing to do when you were traveling at nighttime after a show, you had the dome light on and everybody in the car was drinking beer. So if you're raising up your damn beer, and this is way back, I'm going back over 30 years. Do not drink and drive. I'm just saying that's the way we rolled back then. But just some of the stupid things you did when you were growing up. Teddy, shifting gears one more time before I want to get down to the stuff going on at the Broken Skull Ranch. We're fixing to be hot and heavy down there. We're about to go green light in about 2 weeks. I've got to give you a heads up. Teddy, set your DVR. November 13th, 9 Central. Teddy, you're on the Central Time Zone at 9 o'clock on at 9 o'clock on the 13th of November. The baddest, toughest, coolest show. It's going to be on Sunday. Comes back to CMT. Channel 327 on DirecTV. If you got any other system, I don't know what it is. Broken Skull Challenge Season 4 busts out of the gate, and this season's going to blow your damn doors off. Teddy, you're going to dig this.
Oh, dude, I'm ready for it, man. I'm ready for another season of that show. It's good. It's a real good show.
Well, yeah,
it is a very
that's
good
what
show.
that's part of our Sundays down there. You know, we get our hunt going on, get everything. By the time the show comes on, get everything settled down, and get a grub down, maybe to grab a beer or two. Here's the thing, Teddy. I figured, you know, we rolled down there. I figured I'd bring about a case of Broken Skull IPA, the Bombers, so there'll be 22-ounce bottles. But I figured we'd start off with a bang, you know, spend a week just having a good time. And I figure in about 2 days we'll kill the Broken Skull IPA, make a switch maybe to some whiskey or Broken Skull Ranch margaritas, and then kick into our fitness mode where we just have a drink or two on Saturday or Sunday, go straight 5 days, hit our weights, do our training, get all the work done. And that's what I was figuring. How does that sound like for an entertainment? It's almost like a table of ingredients I've laid out there, like a big-ass picnic. But we're going to be down there for the long haul. We don't want to start off too hot and shoot ourselves in the foot. Ease into that Broken Skull IPA, maintain out for that a few days, and then segue into the whiskey. Because I can't get no more Broken Skull IPA unless I get it shipped to me. What do you think?
Yeah, dude, I'm good. I'm good with that. I mean, I'm ready to dry out a little bit and get back to working out, and you know, just hang out and look at some deer and have some fun, man. Relax for a little while. Get away from the day-to-day grind.
Did you wrap up your last construction job? Because I know you always try to taper your time for deer season, so then you kind of go full bore to Broken Skull Ranch. Have you got everything squared away so that you can make a getaway?
No, dude, I'm so upside down right now with everything. Like I said, the phone won't quit ringing. I made a phone call before the podcast and talked to a customer and said, hey, I know I told you I'd call you tonight and talk about, she had the condensation pan of her AC unit overflowed, drywall in the ceiling caved in. So, you know, you got sheetrock repairs, you got electrical problems, you got AC problems. And I'm like, lady, you know, I'm leaving in 2 weeks. Ain't enough time to fix all the stuff that you want to fix, you know, but I'll call you later. The trim job on the south side of town is an absolute cluster. You know, no, but I'll be there one way or another. I will be there.
Well, no, you know, here's the thing, Teddy. You know me. You know, if you just want to come down and hunt on the weekends, you know, that's cool.
No, dude, I don't want to just come down and hunt on the weekends. I want to spool up and, you know, see this thing in my rearview mirror for about 6-8 weeks. No, you know, that's the thing. Everybody, and you know, it sounds like I'm complaining, and I am, but everybody knows I'm leaving, and they're trying to squeeze that last drop out of me, and I hate to tell them no because, you know, they've been such good customers, and, you know, the word of mouth around this little podunk town is, you know, paramount to your business doing well. You know, and they know that I'm leaving, but they're like, dude, if you could just please hook us up. And I hate to say, you know, hey, dude, you're screwed until, you know, middle of January, you know, tail end of January. You know, so I'm working sun up to sundown. Which now the switch to daylight savings time isn't that long. Dude, but I'll be there. I'll be there. I'm ready to go.
Hey, man, real quickly, before we take a commercial break here for the sponsors to keep this show on the air and allow me to do 2 free podcasts every single week, even though I forget that I'm supposed to do one. Hey, hello. Where's my alpha brain? How's the Dodge pickup? You had an overheating problem. Took it over to your buddy. You're supposed to fix the radiator. You tried to take your buggy down to the ranch. It overheated. What was the be-all, end-all on fixing the truck? Because I got to know that story before we go into a break.
Dude, he wound up changing out the radiator. and we gave it a shot, and it worked perfectly. Hauled my buggy down there and have since made 2 other trips. Heat is not an issue with it, so apparently, the problem is resolved. I still hate the truck, but the problem's resolved.
Hey, how many miles you got on that thing?
110 soft 1,000 miles.
God dang it, dude. I had to move some furniture the other day. I was giving me and Kristin did the open of the show. As you know, we're remodeling, doing this whole floor and this thing, new construction stuff. So we're going to put all our stuff in a storage pod. And so we were going to give some stuff away to a friend of ours. And I needed the couch here in my office. I'm no longer going to have that couch. I'm going to have a proper podcast desk there. So I said, man, I really want to get this thing out of here because we're going to need as much room as we can get in that pod. And by getting stuff out of the house, it will make me feel better. Man, I ain't got no truck. So I said, well, I just call U-Haul and rent one. And last time I rented a U-Haul truck, Teddy, God dang it. U-Haul's number one. They were phenomenal. But I had to rent a U-Haul truck because my Range Rover didn't have the wiring on the back. They gave me a trailer hitch, but I didn't put the wiring on there for my directionals. Well, U-Haul won't rent you a damn trailer if you ain't got no wires so people know which direction you're turning, which is very responsible on their part and very stupid for the dealership that I bought my Range Rover from. So anyway, that's what warranted me having to rent the truck to pull the trailer to get my Kawasaki Mule out to the Broken Skull Challenge compound. So anyway, I was going to go rent a new truck to take these things of furniture over to my friend's place. And my wife says, well, why don't you just borrow Dave's pickup truck? Dave, he's my next door neighbor. He's got a Ford F-150 4-door short bed. It's a 2-wheel drive. I got to give him some flack on that, but it's a truck no less. So I said, well, that's cool. I'll send him a text message to see if I can borrow his truck. So anyway, he said, gave me the green light. And so I loaded up a truck, took everything over to people's house. And Teddy, you know what's the protocol when you borrow someone's truck?
Yeah, you fill it up when you bring it back.
You're damn right. If it had 3/4 of a tank, you don't put it up at 3/4 of a tank. You fill it full because you appreciate the fact that they let you borrow his truck.
Yeah.
So anyway, I drove that son of a gun through the car wash, had the people out there washing it, had it waxed, filled it up with gas, and then took it back to his house. So mission accomplished. And me being the vehicle freak that I am, had to get on his odometer, 156,000 miles on that thing, and it ran like it had 10,000 on it, 156,000 miles. Those old Fords, just like my Broncos, sometimes they don't run because they've been sitting out at the ranch for a long time, and the trickle charger gets unplugged or the rats disconnect the batteries or chew a wire or something. But, some of those old Ford motors just last forever. So hopefully that's the case with your Dodge.
Dude, my work truck is a 95 Ford F-150, got that inline 6. It's about 230,000 on it. That old single cab, automatic transmission, 8-foot bed. It's my work truck, man. I jump in it, I don't even think about it. Turn the key, vroom, off it goes, and it starts right up. And, air conditioning works, radio works. It's a little rough. I mean, I haven't run that thing through the car wash in a couple of years, but no, dude, Ford makes a quality product.
All right, got to thank another fine sponsor of the Steve Austin podcast who's providing comfort to this podcaster when he sits down in front of the mic and presses that record button. MeUndies. Yep, that's right, I said it. MeUndies. Hey, they sent me a truckload of their camouflage MeUndies, the ones made out of that modal fabric, which is 3 times softer than cotton, and they ain't lying. These are about the softest, most comfortable underwear I've ever worn. So now I can sit here in my office at 316 Gimmick Street and watch the hands of my pearl neon clock spin around and around in comfort while I'm opening up cans of audio whoop-ass every single week. So for the price of about 2 cocktails, you can have MeUndies delivered right to your front door, and you can experience exactly what I'm experiencing. And did I mention that MeUndies offers free shipping in the U.S. and Canada? Well, I just did. And if these ain't the most comfortable, best-feeling underwear you've ever worn, MeUndies will refund your money and let you keep your first pair for free. But I'm telling you, you ain't going to return these. And that's why, for a limited time, my listeners also get this great deal. 20% off your first order when you go to MeUndies.com/Steve Austin. Did you get that? MeUndies.com/Steve Austin and get 20% off your first order and free shipping in the U.S. and Canada. One more time for the hearing impaired, MeUndies.com/Steve Austin. Well, Teddy, guess what? This is a sports and recreation podcast, correct?
Correct.
Well, it turns out when I was talking about the announcers of that game, I said Tom Glavine. I was just so used to back in the day living in Atlanta. It was John Smoltz who was calling that game with Joe Buck. So I had to do some research because, man, when I was trying to figure out that name, I've been hitting the head with so many damn steel chairs. I said, man, Glavine. But John Smoltz, it didn't sound right to me. But they both played in Atlanta about the same time when I was down in that neck of the woods. So let me make a correction on the podcast. So you heard me sitting there talking with Ted Fowler at the beginning of the podcast. Correction. It was John Smoltz. I offer my apologies for not having my facts correct. Teddy, I think that's the first time I've ever had anything wrong said on the podcast, ever in the history of over 3 years of podcasting. All right, that's complete BS. I've got a lot of stuff wrong, but I try to be very accountable. This is a sports and recreation podcast. There's a lot of BS that flies here, but I want to get my facts straight.
Did you do your research for your show? I will give you that, man. You definitely put in, your due diligence before you start a show and get your facts right.
Teddy, 9 times out of 10 I do. I appreciate the support there, but 9 times out of 10 I didn't do nothing for this one. This is pure Fowler. We need you. Can you come up to bat for us? So I didn't research
triple Indy,
nothing.
Baby. The triple Indy.
All right, Teddy. Ranch status report. We'll talk about your dating report once we get down to the ranch on the unleashed version. Right. Ranch work, man. The grass is about 5.5 feet tall. I know you've been down there battling. Anything new happened? I had a lot of people send me some emails to questions@steveaustinshow.com. I meant to forward you the one. The one guy damn near pissed himself driving when he was hearing you start yelping about that snake inside my Bronco. How was this past weekend at the Broken Skull Ranch? Was it a little bit easier? Headaches, hassles? What's going on?
Oh, dude, no, it started off pretty easy. I resolved the lighting issue in the pavilion, so that made me happy. But then, of course, after I turned the power off, I think about the cameras, and hopefully I didn't, discombobulate the security system there. No, dude, I didn't have I got on the mower, got on the tractor and drove for about 6 hours Saturday. Got turnbuckle, spinning corn. Dude, I still have not even unlocked the blinds. I mean, I have not sat in a blind morning or evening to look at deer yet. It's just been work. But, it's another weekend, getting towards hunting season, doing what I need to do to get us there. And dude, it's 90 degrees, running around in shorts and a tank top, sweating. And so it really doesn't feel like deer season yet, but everything's coming into place. You need to get there. I need to get there full time. Plus, it's a pain in the butt. I'm the only guy out there, and I've got 3 dogs in the house. And with that pup, I can't leave him outside for fear that, she'll see a deer or a rabbit and jump the fence and be gone. So I got to pop back to the house every 2-3 hours and let them out to do their business, and then go back to working. So, everything's good. Everything's good.
Well, let me cover a couple of things that you addressed there in that last little tirade you went on. Kristin already asked me, well, has Tad been sitting in the stands to be able to look at deer? And I was like, no, he ain't got time to sit in no deer stand and look for deer. And along with the fact, like you said, it's 90 damn near in the morning from it is from when the sun comes up to when the sun goes down, and that ain't fun. And then with respect to the dogs, Man, you're talking about 3 German short hairs. I want 2 German short hairs and chocolate lab. So,
Correct.
Yeah, especially, mister, with that young German short hair, you got your hands full, because here's the way Teddy runs his dogs when we're down at the ranch. And this is his routine. He'll get on his buggy, his Kawasaki mule, and he'll just start driving down the road. And he'll make a circle, go down the road to the front gate, circle back around. It's about a 2-mile run you take him on?
Yeah, it's about 2 miles. Yes, sir.
And them damn German short hairs, Cassie, the chocolate lab, don't do it. She stays at the house with us. She's lazy like Hershey is. She doesn't need to do all that running. But German short hairs, holy smokes. You talk about a bundle of energy and muscle fibers and dogs that are just built to run. Holy smokes. So when Ted's out there trying to get his work done, and you got a couple of those dogs with high energy, they got to have their workout every single day, or as close to it as you can get. And so, man, Teddy will take off driving that mule down the road, and I think, man, he's going to kill them dogs. And I think you're going to wear the mule out before you're going to wear the dogs out.
Yeah, dude, I'm doing 20 to 25 miles an hour. Real deal, staying behind those dogs, and you got to stay back far enough, because with their 4 feet, they're kicking up rocks, and dude, those dogs, they go, and God forbid a rabbit breakout or something like that, but they would do that 3 or 4 times a day. You know what I mean? You can run them hard, and you can tell when they start to wear down a little bit towards the end of that 2-mile trek and start, running out of steam. But 2 hours later, dude, you come back to the house, and it's like they just woke up, after being in a coma. They're like, hey, dude, let's play. Let's go do something. Yeah, it's like, holy cow.
When I first started seeing you do that routine, I'm thinking, man, he's crazy. He's pushing those dogs real hard. But I didn't know anything about a German short hair. I started doing my research, and then all of a sudden, like Mula has become real good friends with your 2 German short hairs. And man, you talk about ripping it up. And Mula, she's going to be almost 4 years old. Teddy, can you believe we've had that Silver Lab almost 4 years?
I cannot.
So right now she's sitting at about 3.5. But so is Tula 1 year older than Mula?
Yes, yeah. Tula is inching up on 5. Cassie's inching up on 6.
But I tell you what, man, and I thought Mula was pretty fast for a Labrador Retriever, but, and she's out there tangling up with Mula and your new short hair. And those dogs, when they start running, they're just like a world-class sprinter. Their head stays almost motionless, and they're just galloping along. And, man, all of a sudden, they start tearing at each other. Your dogs play rough as hell. Mula didn't know where to crap or whine to watch the first few times. And, of course, now it'll take them about, 2 to 3 weeks to acclimate. And then they'll start going gangbusters and tackling each other. But, Rob, I thought Mula was pretty quick. But when you see her in action with those dogs, nah.
Oh, dude, Cassie will sit back and wait for him to come racing by, and she'll take about 2 or 3 steps. And then, it's a blur goes by, and she's like, no, dude. She'll come back and sit up on the porch with me and watch those idiots. Dude, they have gotten rougher. If you can believe that, the older they get, and the younger one now is getting a little salty. And she doesn't want to be pinned down by Tula so much, and Tula doesn't want to give an inch. Yeah, it's gotten a little more violent.
So
they're not fighting.
No, they're fighting. They just play rough.
Yeah, they play.
I'm gonna get Mula a flak jacket or something. She's gonna need some protection.
Oh, dude. Remember last year they came ripping through the house and hit the love seat and turned the love seat over. Yeah.
Well, they've done that on more than one occasion, though, too. I'm going to call Roman Reigns to see if he'll let Mula borrow one of them vests.
She may need it.
Okay, got to take another minute here to give a shout-out to one of the great sponsors of this here podcast, Bowl and Branch. Y'all know my issues with sleep apnea, but it took more than just a CPAP machine for me to get a good night's sleep. It also took a great mattress and some comfortable sheets. And now, getting a great night's sleep is easier and more affordable than you might think, thanks to Bowl and Branch. Bowl and Branch bedding and blankets are made from pure 100% organic cotton, which makes them really, really soft. And you buy everything directly from Bowl and Branch, so you're basically paying wholesale prices. I've seen the price of luxury sheets. They can cost you up to $1,000 in the store. But with Bowl and Branch, you can get luxury sheets delivered right to your front door for just a couple $100. Bowl and Branch have thousands of 5-star reviews and have been featured in Forbes, the Wall Street Journal, and Fast Company. Even 3 U.S. presidents sleep on Bowl and Branch sheets. And here's the best part. You can try them for 30 nights. And if you don't love them, you can send them back for a refund. And to get you started, Bowl and Branch is giving you $50 off your first set of sheets when you order at bowlandbranch.com and use the promo code STEVE. That's bowlandbranch.com and use the promo code STEVE to get $50 off your first set of sheets and free shipping. So order now, bowlandbranch.com, and use the promo code STEVE. Teddy, have you seen any big-ass deer? Please say yes.
You know what? The one I saw at Motel 6, I saw another good one down by Johnny Cash. Saw it for just a glint. Saw 4 turkey down there at Johnny Cash, which is good because I mean we really didn't see many turkey last year. Dude, the good thing is I think the fawns dropped real early, so there's not a lot of real small ones running around. But our fawn crop, the survival rate is way up there. You know, so I mean, our population is going to be high, so you know what that means.
I was talking to our neighbor Mike just yesterday. Talked to him for about 25 minutes, and he said, "Man, he got lots of does and twins." And I said, "I think we're sitting probably close to 85% survival rate." Yeah,
real good,
so
real high.
Taking out a lot of does this year. And
correct.
Hey, man, have you been able to take out any coyotes or anything with any of your accident causers?
Dude, I haven't. I haven't shot anything in 3 weeks. Dude, I didn't even bring out a weapon last weekend. Not a snake charmer, not 243, nothing. I just, went down there and worked, and just trying to make everything right. That's why I need you to get down there. So,
boy, I
get a little relief.
Here's a question for you. I was in my safe the other day. I went out and shot with the guys from Cold Steel the other day. Oh, man, I didn't get a chance to tell you this story. I think I talked about it on my podcast the other day. We went out to a shooting range. Lynn from Cold Steel has his private shooting range about 45 minutes from Ventura. And so I loaded up with my stuff and left Marina Del Rey and headed down there and met them at the factory. And then we all got in a pickup truck together and went down to the shooting range. And, there's about 1,500 acres out there. And a lot of it's been carved up to these individual shooting ranges so you can lease one and it's safe to shoot because you're not around a bunch of strangers that you don't know. And you don't know what their protocol or how they operate, right? And that's one of the things we do at the Broken Skull. Dude, we're safe. Right. We don't mess around. We don't play around. It's all serious, and that's the way the guys from Cold Steel are. So we went down there, and we started off just shooting steel targets anywhere from 15 to 50 yards. And, dude, I haven't shot pistols really in about a year. And I got dialed in real quick, and I'm not going to brag about myself because I'm not the expert shooter, but I was doing pretty good. And they said, "All right, you ready to bust out the shotguns and shoot some skeet?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "If you got a shotgun I can use." I said, "I ain't worth a damn with skeet, and you can vouch for that because Teddy is a bird hunter deluxe. And he's been hunting in birds, and that's why he's got Cassius Chocolate Lab, and that's why he's got his German Shorthairs trained up for quail and stuff like that. He's a big bird guy. And Teddy has seen me shoot box after box after box after doves and pick up my shells on the ground because we pick up our shells and watch the doves fly off into the sunset. God dang it, Teddy! The first 2 skeet he threw out, pow, pow, busted both of them. I said, "Uh-oh, I think I got this thing figured out here. I think the kid's on fire." And then from then on, Teddy, for about the next 10 to 15 minutes, I missed every single thing that guy threw out there. And I was embarrassed as hell, and Lynn was knocking everything out of the sky. Because this guy's like, they go out to the shooting range at least once to twice a week, minimum. They do it because they live it, and that's what they love to do.
Right.
I do too, but I just don't have a chance to. But this guy's good. So all of a sudden, he's knocking singles, doubles, everything out of the sky, and we were shooting these badass Benelli tactical shotguns, which had, no plugs, extended magazines. So, like when we're down there shooting doves in South Texas, we got three shells in our gun. That's max.
Correct.
Well, shooting out there, just because you're shooting tactical guns at skeet, you've got 10 shots to deal with on a semi-auto gun. Man, I'm missing everything, and then, for whatever it was worth, Teddy, all the times that I've been down there hunting with you and all the damn doves that you've seen me miss, and it's been embarrassing. And then, I hate getting beat at anything, but, when you beat me at the dove shooting and then we go to the pavilion and you beat me on my own dart game, I should have kicked you off a ranch a long time ago. But I can't stand being beat. Dude, I dialed in. You know what I was doing, Teddy? All those years, and it sounds so stupid or so basic or so simplistic, I was just looking down the barrel of that gun at a big picture and just trying to lead those doves without respect to the bead on the end of that damn barrel. And you know me, you've seen me shoot my pistol a few times. We normally shoot rifles together. You know how I am with the rifle, pretty damn decent. I'm not a sniper or Marine grade type shooter, but I'm pretty damn good. With the shotgun, horrible. And when I finally started lining up that bead on that bird, or just a frog's hair, in front of it, depending on the speed and how that got through that bird, it was basically being dead on. But it was so, dude, all of a sudden, it was like I was a pool hustler. I shot the first two. I started missing for 10 to 15 minutes, unless like I'm working them, right? And all of a sudden, I got dialed in and started just, bringing that gun up. You always see these guys at these shooting contests when you watch on whatever channel they got it on TV, and they'll draw that gun up, and it's kind of like a little art form that people do. It's their form. It's what they do. But anyway, dude, I started getting on those damn skeets as soon as they come out of that damn gate, and I started knocking everything out of the sky. So when does dove season kick back on at the South Texas zone?
I'd have to look at it to be sure, but I think it is in the middle to the end of December. And it runs for a couple, 2-3 weeks. The best dove hunting is early on, because the doves are all flying down into Mexico, and depending on how the weather is, if it's not a bad winter, they'll come back and we'll be in, we may be in business. But I'd have to look it up to be perfectly honest.
Yeah,
with you.
okay,
I'm
but you
not
don't have to be
100%
specific
sure
on a date. You don't have to be specific on a date, but you didn't get down there and shoot as many as you would have liked to.
No, dude, I went out and hunted about 3 times. I went out, and that was all I could get in.
All right, so how, like when my dad used to come out there, and hopefully we see him again out there this year, he's slowing down off his hunting a little bit, but my dad would always say, during deer season, Steve, what about shooting some of those doves? And me, I'm a stickler. When it's deer season, man, it's deer season.
It's deer, yeah.
Well, in the area that we hunt those doves, it's not really technically throwing off our deer hunting. That was my excuse. But, Teddy, now that I'm dialed in and I know what I'm doing, we're going to be doing a little bit of dove hunting while it's deer season this year, because we're going to put some dove breasts on that damn grill with some bacon wrapped around them and eat them, because the kid here has finally got dialed in. I was so damn proud of myself, Teddy. I was like, man, I can't wait to get over to the Shark Tank with Teddy Cassidy. I'm going to be sitting over in my chair. You'll be sitting over in your chair, and you're gonna wipe the damn stuff out of your eyes and say, damn, Steve's actually hitting these boys. That's
it, man.
So you know how embarrassing it was? There's a tank, a pond that me and Teddy call the shark tank. And it's one of our honey holes. And Ted's got a couple of his little spots that he loves to hunt. But in this particular setup, we can hunt together and we shoot in different directions so we're not covering each other. And Ted has seen me miss the slowest, laziest, lowest flying doves going across that damn surface of the water. Bam, bam, bam. And that damn dove just starts flapping away. And I'm like, God dang it. And I'm throwing some more shells in my damn gun. And, dude, when you see me do this, and you've known me a long time, over 9 years, you know, I was a badass pro wrestler. You know, I'm an extreme deer hunter. I love to hunt. When you see a guy of my caliber just fail to connect on a bird, like, you got to want to shake your head and say, what's up with this dude? Shoot with me, Teddy. What are you thinking? Because he's like, okay, I'm going to drop one cuss word on the damn family-friendly podcast. Heads up. How can this guy be such a good shot at everything else but be the drizzling shits with a shotgun on a slow-flying dove?
Dude, you know what? I mean, it's a lot of hand-eye coordination, and not to take anything away from your athleticism. With a centerfire rifle, and once again, we haven't shot many pistols together, but with a centerfire rifle, dude, you're a lot better shot than I am. You know, I mean, you're a real good shot there. I got no issues with that, dude. But you would stand a better chance swinging that shotgun like a boat oar, you know, than shooting at the doves. Yeah, it's like, dude, you know, man. But you ain't afraid to shoot. You are not afraid to shoot. I'll tell you that much.
Plenty of rounds is in the budget. Yeah. I got the budget. Yeah. I got it, like you said, before dove season started. I think you bought like 300 or 500 rounds.
750 actually.
Okay, so you got 750 rounds. No, mister, you know what? I'm going to tell my wife when she goes down to Trader Joe's in San Antonio and get some of that damn the healthiest bacon she can find, because we're going to be shooting some doves this year, mister.
We need about 300 pounds of vegetarian bacon because we are on a dove crusade. Yep. All right, mister. The second half of dove season is December 17th through January 23rd. So it's on like Donkey Kong.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, it's going to be podcast material. I was sitting there talking to Lynn, and he was telling me about every year. You know, I got a lot of good friends that go down to Argentina, and you've heard the stories because you're a bird guy. And, man, they go down there either dove hunting or pigeon hunting, and there's another kind of bird down there that they hunt. But he'll take 3 shotguns and have 2 or 3 guys loading for him, and just because they have too many birds.
Correct.
So that would be something. I don't want to go to Argentina and shoot no doves, but we're definitely going to break out the shotguns during deer season this year to dove hunt, because the kid is on, and now I got a chance to prove my mettle. So I'm out on a mission. But also just the fact that I love to bird hunt, I just can't hit one. And when you're 51 years old and you're crawling across the pasture to shoot a damn dove off a power line or out of a tree, that's when it's pretty damn bad, Teddy.
Dude, when you ground pound a dove, when there's a dove sitting on the road and you shoot it and you're happy about it, there's something inherently wrong there.
How many did you get? Well, as I sheepishly say, 3. Why are you limping? It's kind of rough crawling across the ground today to get those birds.
Hit my knee on a rock.
Hey, man, how's all the equipment running? Is everything up to speed? There was an owl over there at one barn that was messing things up. And then have you got the Broncos up and running? Is everything good?
Your Bronco is solid. Your father's Bronco needs a starter. John Deere tractor, man, I jumped in it to back drag the parking lot, and it fired right up, run like a champ. Kubota, 100%. All of the buggies, man, everything is working good. The owl is no longer with us. I'm not sure what happened.
I bet that thing probably migrated.
Either that or,
a lot of times if you come around that area too much, they'll fly off and won't come back. They like the privacy.
Either that or he ran into a bad rat. Yeah, no, something happened, but he ain't there no more. No, dude, but everything on the ranch, I mean, obviously we need our basic maintenance, our basic upkeep, day-to-day stuff. But man, everything is working good. Everything is working
but you were able to get into the tractor. You got into the Kubota tractor. You mowed 6 hours. You got in the little riding lawnmower, took care of the yard. And I got a chance to back up with those cameras. I saw you back dragging the parking lot with that John Deere. How much mowing we got? Probably 7-10 days worth, or 2
Yeah, I was going to say, no, dude, a week to 2 weeks. Real deal. To get it the way that we want it, a week to 2 weeks. Yeah, because once you get down there, and it's daylight savings time right now, so we've got 11 hours we can work with. And if you're 2.5 hours front to back sitting in a blind, that's 5. So you're down to 6 hours of workable time. Dude, that's not a lot of tractor time, to be honest with you, for as much dirt as you've got down there. We're 2 weeks to get it showtime.
Okay, so we'll get that thing slicked up, and then just as far as we got a double strand barbed wire fence, I think you got the south end covered. My brother covered that, right?
Yeah, no, that part of the fence is good. It's just where the hogs rooted under, where the hogs have gotten under. There's 2 or 3 places that I saw that need a little attention, like they do every year. But yeah, the fence is good.
Well, Teddy, I don't think last year, man, how many hogs do we take down? Not very many would be my answer. So, man, from all the sign that I've seen down there, and I've been down there sporadically, but holy smokes, they're just terrorizing the place. I'd really like to make an effort to, you know what? I can't pull a bow back. Are you going to try to bring your bow out this year?
Man, I'd like to. I'm having problems with that right elbow. Still having problems, even after that cortisone shot last month.
Dude, you had about 5 cortisone shots that I know about.
I know.
Reached your damn limit. What are you going to do next?
I think I'm gonna have it operated on after the first of the year, because I don't want it to screw up deer season. I'll limp through. And that's something I want to talk to you about when I get, when you and I come face to face. After the first of the year, I really, truly think I need to get that elbow operated on. It's killing me.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's interesting. I woke up the other day and had my right arm. My right arm is the one that had my tricep reattached in Atlanta in about 94. And my arm doesn't straighten out all the way, as you know, and if anybody's new to the podcast. But, man, I tell you what, that thing was hanging off the side of the bed. I got up the other morning. I told Kristin, I said, I wish this was the Unleashed show. I said, God dang it. She said, what? I said, I started trying to straighten my arm out, and I said, I don't know what I've done. But a bone chip, I got those bone chips in there, then they'll get underneath the different areas of my elbow. Sometimes they'll get in that ulnar nerve area, and that kills me, or they'll get right there on the backside of my elbow. Right below that tricep, and then I got another one in the bicep area where I'm trying to do hammer curls or whatever. And I'll tell you what, that damn thing has been kicking my ass. I told my wife, I said, you know what? I said, come January, whenever we come back, because I told my doctor, I was to see Dr. Neil Elatrash the other day, a couple of weeks ago, about my shoulder. I was coming along real good, and we were just laughing and joking and having a good time in there. He had a tough day. And I said, hey, Doc, I said, I like you and everything. I'll meet you somewhere and have a glass of tea with you, but I don't want you cutting on me no more. And this is one of the best surgeons in the world. I was just joking with him. But I told Kristin, I said, man, when I get back from Texas in January, that the last surgery that I want done is just get these loose bodies out of my elbow to get those bone pieces out of there from lodging in my damn elbow, because you talk about painful, and you can't do nothing about it. So what do you think you got? You think you got a Tommy John thing or what?
Yeah, I actually do, man, because I can't, being right-handed, I'm a right arm, swinging a hammer, doing whatever I'm doing. Dude, I'm wearing one of those Ace compression, braces or sleeve on my right elbow. And it's 90 degrees and I'm wearing a long sleeve dry fit shirt because I don't want anybody to see that my elbow's wrapped up. Dude, I can't touch that thing that it doesn't hurt. I can't. It's all I can do: twist a bottle or twist top off a Jack Daniel's bottle. I mean, I got no grip. I can't. Yeah, that's when you know. Yeah, we call him 911.
Yeah. I'm gonna fly Dr. Ella Trash down to South Texas on a private jet to take care of you.
That's when I knew. That's when I knew it was serious, man.
Teddy, when you're having a hard time lifting the cap off a Jack Daniel's bottle, you're in dire circumstances.
Oh, dude, and you're absolutely right. I mean, I've had too many cortisone shots, and I get them. I can't stop working for 2-3 weeks. Put my arm in a sling, let all that stuff heal because it's not happening. And then, dude, I'm 50. I'm a year behind you. Everything's catching up. Had I known I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself, but I didn't, so it is what it is. And I really, truly have decided that after deer season, I need to sit down and look at my options because I can't keep getting cortisone shots in this thing. That ain't, it's a 2-week Band-Aid, and then I'm right back to where we are.
Here's the thing. On a serious note, once we get down into the ranch, get settled in a groove, we'll do a podcast about, hell, if I'd known I was going to live this long, I'd have taken better care of myself and everything in moderation. Yeah. We'll do a podcast like that for giggles. And in all seriousness, as a heads up to what people may have coming, if you go down this road or that road, we've got plenty of stories we can tell from that. With regards to that elbow, since I watched the last game of the World Series, and this is a sports and recreation podcast, when you watch the World Series, you see all them baseball players are wearing those little gimmick bracelets with the magnets on them. They're wearing little gimmick necklaces with the magnets on them. So have you tried one of those little gimmick things with the magnets on it to help your elbow?
Dude, I'd need a magnet about the size of an anvil to help this thing. I swear to God, dude, it's and me, man. Have you ever heard me say, "Hey, dude, I'm hurt"?
No.
Yeah. Hey,
I've noticed times when you were hurt, and I brought it to your attention, so then you would say something. But no, I have never heard you complain about nothing.
Yeah. Dude, you're talking about, on the pod, getting down there to the ranch and doing our, drinking on Saturday, which I'm cool with. And we start working out, which I'm real cool with. Dude, I'm doing legs and I'm doing core, which neither one of us have done in front of one another, ever.
Ever.
Dude, I can't curl 20 pounds with my right arm. So I can't do military. I can deadlift because as long as I'm pulling, I'm fine. But when I push, or I bring it up, no, you forget about it, man. So I'm going to do legs. And when have you seen my little chicken legs get under the squat bar going, "Here, dude, slap another 45 on that rascal"? No, I always tap out. Like, no, dude, yeah. So I can't do any arm stuff. So. Now will be the time to get. If I'm ever going to get a 6-pack that I didn't buy, this will be the season.
And that's the thing about healing up from my shoulder surgery, or the fact that my elbow was kind of bothering me a little bit. It's like, hey man, upper body is the fun stuff to train, and I enjoy squatting. Or I probably did more so back in the day than I do now. My legs my thighs are 28 inches, so it's like that was my easy body part to develop. But it's like, these days it's like I just want to look good. I would go back to Rick Rude's theory, like wrestling. Steve, it's an upper body business. Yeah, I don't really care how much I can squat anymore. My legs are big enough, so I still squat once a week. But now that I'm recovering from my surgery and I can put a squat bar on my shoulders again, on my back, and hold the bar properly, now I'm squatting again, but not with any kind of any weight. But when you start talking about your elbow or your shoulder and you can't train upper body, I mean, because dude, let's be frank. You walk into the club, you walk into the bar, you got a good set of delts, some traps, some guns on you, some tries, some buys, forearms, whatever, a little bit of vascularity going, maybe some traps, some shoulders. Hey, game's a little bit easier. Nobody care about no big ass legs. So yeah, we got to get your shoulder back, because if you can't go in there and pick up some women folk and take a damn swig of your drink with the right arm, you're in harm's way.
No, dude, that's son of a guns. I'll have like a 3-foot long straw for my Jack and Coke because I can't lift my drink up to my mouth. Boy, you talk about suave.
Yeah. I'll just push you in your wheelchair and just hook your straw up to your drink.
Yeah. Papa was a Rolling Stone and it rolled over his right arm. Look at it,
Okay, before we go any further, I need to give a quick thanks to all you guys for supporting the great sponsor of the Steve Austin Show. That's why I'm able to do this for you free twice a week. So thanks for supporting DraftKings, the home of fantasy MMA. And you know what I'm going to be doing on Saturday night? I'm going to be watching UFC 205 live from Madison Square Garden. It's Conor McGregor versus Eddie Alvarez in the main event slot. They fighting it out for the lightweight title. Miesha Tate's on the card too. And if you want to up the action on Saturday night, then go play fantasy MMA at DraftKings.com and win your share of the $300,000 in cash prizes they're awarding next weekend. And if you use my promo code Steve, you can play for free with your first deposit. Playing fantasy MMA at DraftKings is easy. You just pick 6 fighters. You can pick Alvarez, McGregor, and Miesha Tate if you want. Stay under the salary cap, and then rack up points based on how your fight team performs. You get points for significant strikes, takedowns, submissions, and knockouts. And if you outscore the competition, you take home the money. So get to DraftKings.com now to choose your fighters, and you can seriously cash in next Saturday night. Use my promo code Steve to play for free with your first deposit. That's my promo code Steve to play for free for your shot at over $300,000 in prizes. Only at DraftKings.com. Eligibility restrictions may apply. See website for details. Ted, let's plug the construction business real quick. Ted Fowler Construction. Right. You got a website yet?
No, dude. I got enough.
You got Facebook?
I got enough phone. I got Facebook, yeah.
Dude, how do you keep your business going? Because I know it's all word of mouth down here in Rockport. Everybody knows you do great work, and you're straight as an arrow. If you say it's going to be done, it will be done. It will be done correctly and squarely. So how do you promote your business?
Oh, dude, you know what? I bitch a lot about the phone ringing and, customers and stuff like that. Dude, I'm telling you, in today's world, this is my opinion, right or wrong. Dude, if you just treat people decently, do what you say you're going to do, have a little pride in what you're doing, and not look at it. Not look at it just as a paycheck, as a way to get the next paycheck. You know what I mean? As an endorsement from a customer that will bring you more business. Dude, you can't fail. I get that. I charge a lot for what I do, but there's a lot of stuff that I do that I don't charge for. And dude, people love me, and they're like, dude, we've got friends, and we're telling, this person and that person, and these people are calling, and you take that BS call, where it's like, hey, can you come over? My door squeaks. All right. I go over and, fix it. How much do I owe you? Nothing. Just, next time somebody asks, if do you know a good contractor? You just remember I did you right, and tell them my name and number, and I appreciate it. And dude, the phone's off the hook. I mean, I don't advertise in the paper and the yellow pages. I don't even put out yard signs anymore, and I'm already booked up through March. I'm sorry, and dude, people are willing to wait. If you say what you do and do what you say and treat people right, dude, solid. Just keep on going.
Hey, here's a question. We were watching the last game of the World Series the other day. I want to mention that one more time because this is a sports and recreation podcast. And, of course, my wife, she said, well, baseball, is Ted still playing softball? And I said, Man, I don't think you played this year. Are you playing softball anymore? That's $1 million question for the whole podcast, because I didn't think you played this year.
No, dude, you know what? I had an opportunity to go play now that I'm 50, go play for a seniors team, a traveling team. And get this, out of El Paso.
Oh, Jesus.
Dude, do I have to say anything else?
That's only 600 miles away.
Yeah, like, dude, you're telling me I'm the best prospect between here and there, 600 miles? You can't come up with a better? Yeah. Yeah, that laugh was about half of what I did over the phone. You know, when they talked to me and they were like, "Well, dude, we'll fly you here, we'll fly you there. All you got to do is, get to San Antonio." It's like, dude, San Antonio's 2.5 hours away from Rockport. Here, let me let you on a little snippet, if you will. I won't go 30 minutes to the next town to work. What makes you think I want to drive 2.5 hours to have you people fly me somewhere to hit a softball? No, dude, those
we
days
can talk about that on the next show, and I can give you many reasons why.
Yeah, there's a couple of reasons why you can fly me around to play softball, but yeah, I can't say it there. But no, dude, how much, dude, it's like you. I mean, real deal. With your free time, what do you want to do? You want to do stuff for yourself. And then that's the same thing here, man. I want to go to the ranch, or I want to go fishing, or I want to hang out at the house. Yeah,
I'm at the point where, if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it, and it's just like there's nobody's going to talk me into it. I just want to do things that I like to do. But let's end it on a high note. We'll pick up this talk about your. You know what? Here's what I'm going to offer. I have an agent. I have a couple of agents.
I never thought of that. Boy, I'll tell you what. You talk about a feather in your cap. When those people call, I'll say, hey, you know what? I'm being handled by, blah, blah, and, blah, blah. So you're going to have to have your people call my people.
That's the ticket. I'm going to be your agent. I'm not really an agent in real life. I'm an entertainer. But because of my experience with dealing with my agents, I got to be able to handle your softball career. I'm your guy.
Dude, do you have the slightest idea the stroke that I would have walking into a ballpark with you as my agent?
I'm telling you, I smell money here, Teddy. Well, actually, I don't smell money. I just smell a lot of good times and BS, so that's the only reason I'd sign on.
I smell a lot of Ben Gay out of this deal.
Sponsors galore. Broken Skull IPA, Cold Steel Broken Skull Knife's going to be your sponsor. God dang it, we'll get Kawasaki on board. We'll throw the whole shooting match at you. What a rub. I smell money.
Yeah, Cialis, Ben Gay, Kawasaki, everybody. We'll get them all on board.
Oh, man, you just had to bring that up. I was reading about John Jones. He went up above, I guess it was Las Vegas, whatever, and they said he thought he was taking a Cialis, but it was something to do with something for his foot, which was, I don't know, ended up being an estrogen blocker or some kind of thing. It was the craziest damn thing I'd ever heard. But anyway, his suspension was a year. Since this is a sports and recreation podcast, I don't have all my facts straight. I can't remember the story, but it was a bunch of nonsense about some Cialis. 29-year-old kid taking Cialis. Teddy. Cialis when you're 29. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Dude, if you're taking...
I'm knocking on my table. Do you hear that? This is a family-friendly show. Hello.
If you're taking Cialis and you got something wrong with your foot, you need to turn the package around and read the directions, dude. You are doing something inherently wrong.
Chris, Teddy, I've gone through a lot of issues in my life, as we all do in our life struggles. Respect to someone at 29 with those issues, but man, I don't think I can't buy into that one,
dude. At 29 years old, if the South will not rise, yeah, you've got problems. You have problems.
We're going to end on that note. Ted Fowler, 361 on Twitter.
That's as family-friendly as I can be, man.
That's why I got to cut you off. Ted Fowler, 361 on Instagram. He's got all kinds of wonderful posts of the outdoor life happening at the Broken Skull Ranch and everywhere else he goes, including his wonderful fishing trips to the great state of Louisiana. Ted, I look forward to seeing you in about 10 or 11 days.
All right, man. Looking forward to it.
All right, dude. Catch you down the road.
All right, man. Good night.
All right, everybody, give me the go-home cue. It's time to wrap up this podcast and ride off in the sunset. But before I do, I want to say thanks to Ted Fowler 361 on Twitter and Instagram for helping a brother out in a time of need and doing a podcast. Teddy, I'm looking forward to seeing you in about 10 days down at the Broken Skull Ranch, where we are going to have a hell of a good time for the next few months. Hunting and working and hunting, a little bit of lifting, maybe some drinking. We'll see what order it all comes in once we get there. Hey, give you guys something to watch before I sign off here, and it is the new season of Broken Skull Challenge premieres on CMT on Sunday, November 13th at 10/9 Central. That's right. The baddest, toughest, coolest show on television, it's finally back. November 13th, this coming Sunday, 10/9 Central. This is a kick-ass season. God dang it, I'm so proud of this damn show. They got a badass trailer we're fixing to release. It's a great show. I enjoyed filming this show. I enjoyed meeting all the men and women that came out here. My lips have been sealed. Now you get a chance to see what got unleashed at the Broken Skull Challenge compound in Agua Dulce. Coming to your television set. Don't forget to set your DVR Sunday, November 13th at 10/9 Central on CMT. So I'm also going to be releasing my new T-shirts that I wore on Broken Skull Challenge on ProWrestlingTees.com/Steve Austin and BrokenSkullRanch.com. Some new designs that I wore on the Broken Skull Challenge. They will be available starting Friday. Let's call it Friday. They're going to be available Friday. And if you're looking for the best damn IPA in the United States of America, get Broken Skull IPA from El Segundo Brewing, right there in El Segundo, California. Stop by the brewery if you're in L.A., 140 Main Street, El Segundo. Pick it up at Whole Foods and Total Wines if you live in Cali. If you want to order it from InsideTheCellar.com or BrokenSkullRanch.com, see if they deliver in a state that you live in. They will ship it to you. And you can find everything at BrokenSkullRanch.com, including the Broken Skull Cold Steel Knife. And if you want the best price on the baddest knife on the planet, go to Amazon. It's $75 on Amazon, and use my links when you do so. All my Amazon links are at PodcastOne.com. Click on the Killer Deals button in the top right corner of the page, and then hit the Steve Austin Show button. I've got Amazon links for USA, UK, and Canada. Just use my Amazon links whenever you're doing any online shopping, and Amazon will kick back a couple of bucks to the podcast. It does not cost you anything extra. There are no hidden fees or charges. You can buy whatever you was planning on buying, and you will help out the podcast in the process. Bookmark it so you can find it easier. You'll also find links to all the great sponsors of this here podcast. I appreciate y'all supporting the sponsors. They are the ones who let me do this for you free twice a week. So big ups to ddpyoga.com/Austin. Get 15% off the DDP Yoga DVDs and 3 months of full access to the DDP Yoga Now app for a limited time. To DraftKings, use my promo code Steve to play for free this weekend. To MeUndies, go to MeUndies.com/Steve Austin to get 20% off your first order. And to Bowl and Branch, go to bowlandbranch.com and use the promo code Steve to get $50 off your first set of sheets. And hey, the 60-second AP News headlines are coming up next. Until then, my name is Steve Austin, and I will catch your ass down the road.
Download new episodes of The Steve Austin Show every Tuesday at PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.